I've returned to Mount Little Station where Ian Fels did the restoration for Peter Zadow, and it's a couple of years later. And if you remember, this is where we had those furrows dug, and this place is entirely different. There's little pieces left like scalds like this, but everywhere where it's been ripped you can see vegetation that is obviously palatable and has come back, and this is a small number of the sheep we've seen here today, and everywhere you look there are parts like this one, sort of legume-y looking things, these leafy, but it gets very, very thick. There's salt bush coming back, there's all sorts of stuff over this, but there's a hell of a lot more feed than anywhere else you might imagine. This got, they're pretty much clovers. You wouldn't have thought they would grow here. There's a few of those weeds being sprayed out around the place, but just look at this. This is clover coming through. This is supposed to be a 6 or 8, 9 inch rainfall around here, and everywhere we go we can see that water isn't escaping, but the coverage you've got here now will hold in the moisture and not let it evaporate, because evaporation out here, if there's not ground coverage, the evaporation is going to be huge. So what I'm trying to report is that this stuff appears to have worked extremely well. I don't know whether you can remember what all that looked like before. It was patchy where some was 1 year, 2 years old, but now it's all starting to get regenerated, and there doesn't seem to be the brown scalds where water, and the ground, I know it's been raining up here, but you can see that soil's still moist. Look at that, there's a hole. These are holes where water's obviously going back down into those rips, still getting into them. The rips aren't anywhere near as visible now, but you can see the water's still going to run down those holes and be held in the landscape. Everywhere you turn there's these little holes, and like I said, wherever I put the camera down, that's clover. Lots of food for sheep, and that's really, really encouraging. But all these the waters, if you look down these holes, you can see how moist that subsoil down there is. It's all drained in. So everywhere where you look, it's like this. Give this more time, let that seed drop from that clover. It's going to be incredibly productive again. And this explains how there used to be such big numbers of sheep out in this area. This hasn't been seeded, remember that. All this stuff has come back naturally, which means it was all here in the first place. It's just been lying dormant, and all they've done is rip the soil, allow water into the subsoil, and I can't get over the number of holes that are here where water can, if it just sits on the ground, it just drops in that hole and then doesn't evaporate. It's kept in the landscape. So we've changed the whole dynamics out here. And just think of the economic potential of this. You could buy land, do this, knowing that there's going to be an incredible return to it, provided you graze it properly once it's established like this again.